of the MDR, the main dining room. That's a 414-seat restaurant where we were doing about $32,000, $35,000 in revenues daily. That place was quite something. So anyhow, and then the following summer I would be the beverage manager. The following summer it would be something else, you know. So I really evolved and did most of the jobs out there. And upon graduating, and that's a message for you, you know, that have the ambition of carrying on with chains and whatnot. Upon graduating, I went back to Jasper and I accepted the role of food and beverage trainer at $26,000 per year in 1994. All right? So the company car keys, the laptop, BlackBerry, iPhone, and whatever else is not an automatism because you have a diploma. Okay? And I've said this message before here at Royal Roads to other people, and it's important that it sinks in because you will get out of these, out of your hard work, you know, a lot of benefits. But you know, if you go in expecting nothing, you'll win. I wanted to, so really my message there was to make sure that you think about investing yourself and in the company that you're working, you know. And in Jasper, I've learned a lot. I've learned the value of hard work. I've learned a lot about finances as well when I was there in food and so I should say, when I got there, after my education, I was a food and beverage trainer. I left a few years later, a member of the executive team and director of food and beverage of an almost $12 million food and beverage department there that I took over in 95 at 8.5% profit year-round, and then upon leaving, it was 19.93, and I sat down with the controller to try to find the 0.7% to cross the 20%, but you know, we never did find it. But anyway, so Jasper was a great school. When you work out there, a couple of advantages to work in a resort like that. There's no union, you know, which means that you can cross silos more effectively. You know, please don't get me wrong. Unions are wonderful, and they do play a role. Sometimes it is difficult to treat them as partners, but you know, in essence, you know, the benefit there in Jasper was that if you want to work and that you're prepared to do anything, then there's not a lot of barriers to do that. So the other thing as well that was wonderful out there is that, you know, you do everything. You touch absolutely everything. You hang Christmas trees and Christmas light in the trees at Christmas time. You work in the staff cafeteria. You participate with the golf operation. You do a little bit of everything, and then you really become a multitasker, you know, and it's great for experience. I got a phone call from a guy named Gordon Johnson. Today he's the vice president of Delta Hotels here in British Columbia, and he's a wonderful guy. At the time, he was the general manager of the Delta Vancouver Airport Hotel. We call it the DVA. Some other people call it the man-eater, because it was known as a tough property to work at. Anyway, I accepted the role of food and beverage director there. You know, it was time for us to move. So, you know, I just kissed it all goodbye and really joined a different culture. You know, CP Hotels, Fairmont Hotels, just to give you a little bit of an idea. My glassware budget when I was in Jasper was $112,000 per year, you know, and you can buy all the crystal you want and everything else, you know, talking about a real luxury product there with a great return on investment. It was $9,000 with Delta. You know, so it's an amazing culture shock, you know, when you think about it. Got there 8 months later, was asked to be the regional director of food and beverage for Delta Hotels for the province, which I accepted. That's how I got to the Okanagan at the time, and really traveling all around, you know, because we had operations in Whistler and so on and so forth. We were not in Victoria at the time. And then became the director of operations there. In the summer of 2000, there's the big 7 hotels in Vancouver went through a month-long strike, and it was a very hot month of July in 2000 also. And then, you know, it was, again, quite a fantastic learning lessons because Delta is not into locking the doors when there's a labor disruption. They're about carrying on. So 447 room hotel with about usually 285 staff. We operated it during 1 month time with 33 managers. So it was a very interesting learning experience. I've seen some big boys cry. And, you know, of course, as I was the director of operations there, so a bit of a jack of all trade again, you know, and you get to deal with some interesting, you know, dimensions of the industry. After that, I moved across the street to the Delta Pacific Resort, and at that hotel, I was the acting general manager for about a year. So in both those properties, my takeaway, my learning really was around fiscal management and fiscal responsibility. That was really the first thing that I've learned there. You know your numbers, know your numbers. The answer is in revenues all the time, but if you understand the middle of the statement, as we call it, then you're a much more efficient operator. And then from that point on, you know, the other fascinating thing that we did with Delta Hotel was our work with the National Quality Institute of Canada. We embarked on a quality journey with the NQI, which was absolutely amazing. And the result of that was that Delta Hotels was the first hotel chain to be accredited with the Canadian Awards of Excellence. And the benchmark came from 3 properties, and one of which was the Delta Vancouver Airport Hotel. So I was very, very proud of that. And I kept working with the NQI, with the National Quality Institute, and you should check it out. You know, it really is fascinating. I'm a certified assessor for them, and I was asked to go in some businesses and conduct audits of their processes. And you know, it's just a great, great journey. And then my vice president walked in my office and he said, "We got to get you out of here." So that was at the Delta Pacific, you know. I said, "Okay. What's going on?" He said, "Well, you know, then we have serious issues with ownership right now. Delta Hotels does not own the properties. It's an expertise management company, just like Fairmont is today." And basically, the whole dialogue was that, you know, they're not reinvesting, they're not following the hotel management agreement, and we're in breach, so Delta will leave this facility. I said, "Okay, what about me?" You know, and then I was offered 3 options. The first one was to stay there and wait for the next position. I said, "What's the second one, please?" The second one was to go back to the Delta Vancouver Airport Hotel as the director of operations because the position was still vacant. At that point, I felt that I'd been there, you know, been there, done that, wrote the book, got the shirt and the cap, you know. So, a third option was to come to Victoria here to transition a property called the Ocean Point and to turn it into a Delta Hotel, as we had entered at the time a management agreement with the owners at the time, who were Dai Japan, right after Mr. Stoley. So I accepted that role, and those transitional roles, they're never there for a very long time. I was the parachute guy, basically, the only deltoid that was sent there, you know, and it was very interesting because the Ocean Point Hotel is just magnificent, you know. It's a jewel. It's one of the nicest Delta hotels right now. So when I got there, you know, the whole operation there was looking at me like I had 2 heads. You know, they felt like they had just been bought by Walmart, you know? And it was just horrible. These people, they had all those awards, the White Glove Housekeeping Award, this, Condé Nast, that, and whatever, and, you know, we're now at Delta. It was very challenging. You know, you get in there and then, you know, how do you sell your soup? And, you know, how do you sell the fact that you are, in fact, bringing in, you know, something that's fantastic. Today, go there and tell them that Delta's leaving. They're all going to jump off the Blue Bridge. It may happen anyway.